Welcome to Go Pill. This is a YouTube channel where we talk about religion and spirituality for the purpose of edifying ourselves, becoming a better version of ourselves, and getting closer to the divine. Today we're going to be breaking down the Genesis story. Now, the Genesis story is allegory. However, there are many aspects of the Genesis story that are true that involve ancient history and the times where humans used to worship reptilians. So let's go ahead and start off with what the word Garden of Eden means. So the original Hebrew is the word gan, which means enclosure, and Eden, which means garden. So essentially, this is a barricaded garden. So in reality, this is actually a farm, not a garden. So, according to my sources, the Genesis story is real, but it isn't about humans living in paradise with divine overseers. It's about Homo sapiens being kidnapped, put into plantations, then getting genetically engineered to be worship slaves before we can become competitors to an older human species, as well as extraordinarily powered non-humans. Now, we were not in a garden, okay? We were in a farm, and we were treated like animals, and our energy and our labor was being harvested. So we were in a situation where we were very unlucky, but then we got slightly lucky because the planet got invaded by non-humans that looked like us. And these beings were called the Inuna, or the Anunnaki. They ended up fighting the Reptilians, defeating them, and then the Reptilians abandoned the surface world and reclused to living underground. This battle is well documented in myths of humanoid gods defeating dragons, myths like Marduk defeating Tiamat, Enki killing Apsu, Ra killing Apep, Zeus defeating Typhoon, Apollo defeating the Python, Hercules defeating Hydra, Baal defeating Yam, Yahweh defeating the Leviathan, Indra defeating Vitra, the Brahmins defeating the Naga, and George the Dragon. This also represents the transfer of power. So rulership of humans transferred from reptilians to the extraordinary non-humans. This version of them, I'm going to go ahead and call them the Anunnaki, but they were all around the planet. So everyone at some point was worshiping dragons. Now, there are a few lineages to this day that still worship dragons, like the Asians, of course, as well as voodoo, which centers around Damballa, which is represented by a serpent. But for the most part, everybody transitioned to worshiping the Anunnaki. Now, anytime you read a story like Genesis, you have to be very careful, because this is a story where it reverses the roles. Instead of telling you that we were conquered by extraordinary non-humans, they made the villains seem like gods, and they made the victims seem like ungrateful, disobedient servants. This is why cartoons like Dragon Ball Z resonated so strongly with certain people. It's because the Saiyan race really represented the Homo sapiens, and Frieza really represented the dominant reptilian forces. So the Genesis story is really about humans being colonized by reptilians, and this is why the serpent in the garden walking and talking never really made any sense. Our interpretation of the story was given to us from the perspective of a slave who loves their master. Now, humans are much older than the Genesis story. Our Genesis doesn't even start with Earth. We are from eternity, a divine realm beyond existence and non-existence. Many billions of years have passed, with wars taking place between different human species that has happened, that, has spiraled into us being where we are right now, in a planet full of amnesia. We are actually here to help Earth evolve, because she is a piece of a broken mirror that lost her own light. So we are here to help her remember who she is, while we are fighting to remember who we are and then return to our divine lineage. Humans don't begin on Earth. We are divine light beings trapped in a meat suit, trapped in the cycle of amnesia, until we remember our true purpose to reconnect to source, while being in an illusion of having a normal life. So the Genesis story is allegory. It isn't true. It didn't happen, but there are many aspects of it that are true that I'm going to go into to convey truth. Was there non-humans colonizing and governing humans? Absolutely. These are stories all around the planets, whether it's speaking of the Orisha of Africa, the Anunnaki of the Middle East, the Norse gods of Europe, dragons of Asia, the Naga and the Hindu gods of India, the Neteru of Egypt, etc. Everybody can't be lying, because there were no phones or television to spread this lie. There were no means of communication. Our religions are actually based on our experiences with non-human God beings. The reasons why most researchers focus on the Anunnaki is because most people are still praying and worshiping to Middle Eastern gods, Yahweh and Allah, which are really Enlil and Marduk. Jesus is from Palestine. So these are all Middle Eastern gods. But the story of extraordinary non-humans interacting with humans is similar all around the planet. Next fact. Some of these beings were good and some were bad. So there was a point in history where they didn't want us to learn, become wise, become smarter, because instead of worshiping them and working for free, we would ask for our independence and become like them, like gods. So that aspect of the Genesis story is true. This is why the serpent in the garden was demonized. This is why Enlil hated Enki. This is why Zeus punished Prometheus for teaching humans. This is a real aspect of the story of evil non-humans becoming a demiurge to us. Was there a walking, talking serpent? Yes, reptilians are real. They are older versions of humans. They are humans too. They are from the earth. They used to govern us as well. People used to worship dragons worldwide. That's true. Listen, my ultimate point is that the story they're selling you is post-flood, the 6,000-year timeline, pre-flood. Our ancestors had all types of experiences with dragons, elves, centaurs, demons, giants, Bigfoot, mermaids, fairies, spirits, etc. They couldn't write, so the stories became myths that got distorted and passed down. Post-flood leans into humans becoming independent, writing, becoming intelligent. Our ancestors' prayers got answered. We finally didn't have to get beaten down and governed by superpowered non-humans. Now we think life is about working until you're 60 or 70, having a family, meaningless hobbies. They even tell you that out of the millions and billions of stars and planets that they can see in our universe, we are the only life in the universe. Yet, many of you are obsessed with horror movies and anime. They keep your mind in a bubble. They tell you what to think and how to think to keep you in their box. Meanwhile, you're praying to Enlil and Zeus for forgiveness. So you don't believe in aliens, but you pray to them. So that is the point that I'm making. We are conditioned to be work slaves. We used to be work slaves for the aliens. Now we're work slaves for society. Instead of our rulers being extraterrestrials, now it's your boss at work. Okay? So at some point in time, you had to begin to think outside the box. Life cannot just amount to you working 40, 50 hours a week, having a family and having these meaningless hobbies. There has to be more. You have to begin to question your reality, to pierce the box. You have to understand that in these allegories, in these religion, are breadcrumbs of truth that can connect you to who you truly are, the divine light. So with that being said, live, laugh, love. Meditate, read, study, listen, practice semen retention, forgive, love your neighbor, peace.